Good evening, everybody. Welcome in. This is The Spread. I am Cameron Tarrant. With me, as always, my co-host, SoCon, John Hooper, who was a very, very busy man last week. Things calming down a little bit for you this week, John.
Yeah,
Just got some football ahead of us now.
yeah, and I kind of got my final article out about the tournament today, and um, really all I have left for basketball is to write like a preview of UNCG and whoever they play.
Greensboro struck gold, is what I saw.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They did.
I figured with them being gold, I
Yeah.
figured it was easy.
Hey,
Easy title.
I liked it. Yeah, no, I liked it. But yeah, so things going to kind of slow down this weekend. Busy weekend though of football ahead of us.
I'm
This weekend,
fascinated. I'm
yeah,
fascinated.
this weekend is interesting to say the least.
I think we could look back at last week and say that it's a turning point for Furman.
Could be, could be.
Given the way they played at VMI, didn't obviously take nothing away from VMI. VMI is very
Right,
good,
very good team. But the way Furman had to come back against Samford last week, yeah.
I just think we talked a little bit about how it was in the opposite direction for the basketball team psychologically.
Yeah.
I think that's huge for the football team, going forward psychologically. And I'm trying to go back. I don't remember too many games at Furman where they've been in that type of situation recently and have been able to pull off the win.
Well, it was a big comeback victory for the Paladins last Saturday. John, we're going to get into the SoCon football schedule for this upcoming week. I actually have a full slate of games, 4 full games so far. No games have been postponed or canceled.
Fingers crossed, of course.
Fingers crossed for this weekend. Got some good FCS games all around the country that we'll make picks on and things later.
A couple of ranked matchups, I believe.
There are. I've only got one. I didn't actually put one on the pick.
Well, one of them's on the verge of being ranked. So
technically, I think North Dakota State plays Illinois State, but Illinois State's like 0-2, and I don't understand how they're ranked.
Politics.
But I've got some good games. We'll pick that coming up later on in the show.
By the way, who has Illinois State lost to?
That I don't know. All I know is they're 0-2.
We'll have to look into that.
The Redbirds, isn't that what their mascot is?
Yeah, their coach. This was at least the case when they played App State back in 2012 in the playoffs. Is from Purdue. Apparently a longtime assistant there, maybe under Joe Tiller, perhaps.
All right, so John, they've lost to South Dakota and lost to Northern Iowa.
Well, that's not a bad loss. South Dakota's a little surprising.
Those 2 games, they lost by a combined 17 points.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Do you have Northern Iowa's record in front of you?
They are, I believe, 2-1, or I believe they're 2-1.
Yeah, because they lost to South Dakota State.
They're actually going to be one of our picks this week.
Okay.
Keep an eye out on the Panthers. But John, before we get into the football talk, though, we dealt a lot with the SoCon and their basketball season. Really delved into the tournament over the past week. Now that that's over with, this is championship week around college basketball. Got a lot of conference tournaments going on right now, and one right here locally that a lot of people are keeping an eye on is the ACC Tournament, John. And people here in South Carolina disappointed.
Dude, kicked out. I love the title. Get out of here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Duke, but the one that is going to sting here for fans in the upstate of South Carolina, Clemson, one and done, the 5th seed in the tournament, losing to Miami in a heartbreaking fashion last night or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, and had a chance at the end, to win the game. And like you mentioned at lunch today, Don't know why Amir Sims is perhaps not getting that shot.
I don't understand why your best player, your captain, the soul of your team is not taking that last shot. Now, look, I don't know if that was a Brad Brownell decision, if that's just how.
But like he said on the play, he wasn't like, it wasn't like they were just had two men on him or something. Like, you know, he was,
Amir Sims
was sort of like wide open.
He's standing at the top of the key, just standing there, and Nick Honor just drives the hole and tries to make the layup, and unfortunately it missed.
I think that's one of those plays that Nick Honor was probably supposed to pass it, maybe.
Because look, you look back.
He's supposed to drive, penetrate, and kick.
Like the last,
he just went in for the layup.
Look, nothing against Nick Honor. He's been great all season, except the last 2 weeks he kind of went cold for Clemson down the outside. And I don't understand why he took that shot. But look, Clemson, it was a 3-point loss for the Tigers to Miami, a team that was the 13th.
But at that point when they shot it, wasn't it 65-64?
60. No, it was it 65-64 or was it 66-64? Because
it was a one. I think it was a 1 point.
So
and they had to foul, and then Miami came down and hit two free
throws. But I mean, Clemson didn't have a chance after those 2 free throws.
Right. There wasn't enough time to get another.
3 seconds. Yeah, they had like 3 seconds on the clock. But a tough break for the Tigers in the tournament. Look, they played well all year. They're going to get in the NCAA tournament. That's not a question. The question is where they're going to land in the NCAA tournament. You know,
we're thinking.
Well, I believe
it was going to be like a 6 seed, but now it's probably going to be.
Yeah, and I'm thinking probably an 8 or 9 seed, honestly.
I mean, they could get a 7, depending. But the only bad thing about an 8 or 9 is we both know that somewhere
1 seed.
You're going to play a 1 seed, whether it be Gonzaga or Michigan or Baylor, you know, or Virginia. I guess they probably wouldn't match up. I take that back. They wouldn't match up Virginia in that same bracket. So it would either be one of the other 3 that I mentioned.
It's going to be interesting to see how because normally in a normal year you have the different regions played in different areas of the country, but everything's being done in Indianapolis this year. So,
which might be good that it wouldn't be Clemson and Virginia.
Yeah, very true, very true. But tough break to end the regular season in the
and what's been a very positive, good season for Clemson.
Yeah. And what hurts?
All things considered, having the 2 pandemic stoppages.
Yeah. And look, what hurts, losing this one, Miami's a team they went 2-0 against in the regular season. Like, they swept the Hurricanes.
So one of them was a blowout, and the other one was a close game, right?
The close game was, I believe, the one in Coral Gables. Yeah. And then the blowout.
That was like a 2-point win for Clemson.
Yeah. Yep. So Clemson, one and done in the ACC.
Can we talk about Notre Dame and North Carolina?
Well, give credit. Notre Dame did
52-4 run to close the game out. Like, Mike Bray might need to be looking for a more, future employment, or like
North Carolina. I don't know why I said North Dakota. North Carolina beat them 101-59.
The bad part about it is North Carolina's not that good.
No,
I mean, they're good. They're good. I mean,
they're getting better. Look, they're getting a lot better than where they were earlier on this year.
They just have an NBA looking front line with that Baycott, and it's just so they're similar to the team that won. They're not as talented, but they're similar in size to the team that won it.
Yeah, what'd you tell me? You said that Baycott had a triple-double last night?
I think that's correct. And I know he only
20 points, 13 rebounds, but I don't know if he did.
I know somebody did. I don't know if it was him, but I think it was Baycott. But I do know that somebody had a triple-double. And, like, the only other one was, like, Michael Jordan was one of them.
Yeah. Probably Tyler Hansborough.
Probably. Somebody like that. I mean,
Yeah.
as many good guards as they've had.
Yeah.
Too.
So yeah, North Carolina.
I wonder now though, does that, Duke, despite the fact that they're knocked out, they were playing pretty well. I mean,
they finally started to kind of put it together. Look, they beat Boston College handedly in the first round, and then did the same thing to Louisville yesterday. I mean, 70-56 against a really good Louisville team. Like Duke,
it was funny. That was a weird game because
it was.
Louisville fell behind like early in that game by like 14 points, and then all of a sudden like went on a 16-2 run to close the half. And like after a timeout.
Yeah, I was going to say it was close at halftime.
I think they were winning. I think Louisville was up by 1 at half.
And then Duke just.
And then like they didn't score for like the first 7 minutes of the second half.
Well, shoot, that kid for Duke, was it Williams, had 23 points, 19 rebounds. 19 rebounds, John, and like I believe like 8 or 9 of those were offensive rebounds.
Well, the crazy thing about the rebounding numbers. Like there was at one point in the North Carolina game yesterday where they were getting 78% of their missed shots.
That's amazing. Notre Dame didn't get a rebound. They got like doubled.
They got out rebounded by 23 rebounds. It was like 54-31 or something.
It's incredible. I've never seen a rebound margin like that.
I mean, Southern Wesleyan could have done better than Notre Dame did as far as rebounding. Because, I mean, rebounding is really not about size. It's pretty much all about effort.
Yeah.
That's sad effort.
Yeah, Notre Dame, it was not there for the Irish last night. Look, I'm really intrigued about the North Carolina-Virginia Tech matchup tonight. Look, the Hokies have been playing well. They're scary good offensively. But if North Carolina keeps rolling the way they've been rolling down the stretch, it could be.
I think North Carolina is a dangerous team.
They are
to face in the NCAA tournament for somebody. I think they're going to make a little run.
They might. They might. If they can get it by Virginia Tech, then they got to play Florida State, which Florida State hasn't even played a game and is already in.
Well, remember North Carolina destroyed Florida State like a couple of weeks ago.
John, how about the Noles? Haven't played a game yet in the ACC tournament and are already in the semifinals because of what happened with Duke today.
They haven't played an ACC. They were like awarded the championship last year, like on this day at noon. They haven't played an ACC tournament game in I guess for that matter, a lot of teams haven't, but especially them because they were a higher seed.
Yeah.
So they really haven't played. I think they were supposed to play Clemson last year.
They were. Clemson was on the floor. They were on the floor on warm-ups.
And then the PA guys attention, the ACC tournament has been canceled. And you're like, huh? And the players and then the commissioner comes out there with the trophy and just gives it to Florida State's coach, and he's like, okay.
I tell you what though, but look, Duke beat they beat Boston College and they beat Louisville to play Florida State today. And then, John, the news came out, Duke had a COVID positive test come back today and have
I'm not so sure it was even qualified. I don't think it was a player.
No, it sounds probably like it was an administrator or a coach or an assistant.
The SID.
Yeah, some sort of, equipment manager, somebody within around
the bus driver.
Probably knowing Duke, it probably was
the bus driver.
Because after their game with Louisville, they bust back to Durham from Green.
It wouldn't be certainly it's nothing to joke about, but I just think it would be kind of weird that if it was like Coach K, because you remember that season back in 94, 95 where he had to that back, all those back problems. And so
John, I'm going to make you feel old because I don't remember that because I was one.
well, I'm old, so yeah. So like they lost a whole bunch. This is the last time they didn't make the tournament. They lost a whole bunch of games.
Yeah.
And like Coach K was like, "Well, those losses shouldn't go against me." Why? You know, I mean, like,
technically he wasn't coaching.
Yeah, but like he's still it's like he's still the head coach. I mean, is he that worried about an award for victories?
I don't know. Coach K, I feel like, it's always been a little big-headed about himself.
Of course, remember Bobby Bowden in football? They counted like wins over like Mexico City or somebody when he was coach at Howard College, which is now Samford or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know how they played Mexico City. Don't ask me. It's like a mission trip or something. I don't know.
So Florida gets a free pass today, as Duke has virtually been disqualified from the tournament. They're done, and they may
and
not.
That's an automatic 2-week lockdown. So even if they could play in the tournament, they wouldn't be able to.
So Duke out of it. They've been kicked out. Virginia, they
What I don't understand, Cameron, is tell me this. How does Chattanooga have 2 players test positive the day before they play ETSU and still play the SoCon tournament?
I guess different conference rules. The ACC may be a little stricter.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's the only explanation I could have for that.
The only other thing I can think about is there wasn't enough time for anyone to get infected, or like maybe they already knew. Like, you don't know how much before they knew that, like how much they could have been quarantining those guys for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be just the ACC.
But the news broke like an hour prior to tip off.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure, like, if they tested positive, they didn't want ETSU to know that prior to, that much earlier.
If it had been a couple of days before.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. How about 1 seed Virginia? They continue to roll. The regular season champions of the ACC beat Syracuse. Close one, though. The Orange gave them a pretty good game.
That was one of the better games.
Yeah.
We kind of joked, they were talking about it on the game last night that, like if NC State, wins, like that would knock that game that they won during the regular season to a quad 2 win instead of a quad 1. Yeah. So I thought, but NC State also has a win over Virginia in their back pocket.
But look, Joe Lunardi's got Syracuse as one of the first 4 out. So is Syracuse, with having won against North Carolina State last night, is that going to be enough for them to?
No, I think they need to win 1, maybe 2 games.
But see, they're out now. I mean, they lost to Virginia.
I mean, like, they would have needed.
They would have needed to lose. They would have needed to beat Virginia,
right?
To try to get in. So yeah,
if they would have beat Virginia, that was solidified. I think their place in the NCAA tournament, because that would be a quad 1 win. So
yes, I don't know if they're getting in now that they lose to Virginia, but that sets up a Virginia-Georgia.
I think they're closer. Honestly, I think they're probably closer than Duke.
Probably, but Duke may get in on namesake alone,
which I think is unfair. Like, I mean, if they're not going to win it. Duke's not going to win it.
But they might put them as like a 14 or 13 seed.
I think if they put them in it, they should make them put into that like first 4 where you get to play into the tournament, and like put them against like some night, because Duke always loses to like Lehigh or somebody. Put them against like Belmont or something, and like somebody that shoots it real well.
Tell you what, I'm hoping, Virginia fans are probably hoping they don't see UMBC. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, here's one we hadn't talked about: the CAA tournament, which had the Drexel Dragons defeat the Elon Phoenix in a matchup of mythic proportions.
Yes, Drexel, the Dragons. I did not realize
one of those 18,000 schools right there in Metro Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yes. So That's the ACC tournament, John. Got a lot of basketball. The Big Ten, I believe, is in full swing now. The SEC tournament in full swing.
Yeah, the Big Ten got underway today.
Big 12 is in the quarterfinals, I believe, right now as well.
Is it still the Phillips 66 Big 12 tournament?
I don't know.
It's been that for ages.
That I do not know.
Good Lord. And here we got a score update here. Kansas, who's playing really well right now. Remember they fell out of the rankings?
Yeah, they're starting
currently destroying Oklahoma. 35-15 at halftime.
What was it you sent me? No, I saw it on the on Twitter. There was somebody scored like 15 points in a half in a tournament game.
Probably Stanford.
It was DePaul. That's who it was.
Okay. Yes.
DePaul.
Yeah. Mississippi State, that's one of the stories of the day. How about Georgetown upsetting Villanova?
That's big.
In the Big East tournament. 72-71.
Big one. How about Butler currently losing to Creighton right now?
Good Lord. Butler is getting boat raced.
Yes.
Right now by 28.
Ohio State was able to hold on against Minnesota.
Minnesota, one of the two teams to beat Michigan this year. So they've got that going for them.
That's a good win.
Baylor, survives a bad Kansas State team.
Michigan has to take on Maryland tomorrow in the quarterfinals.
Florida gets past Vanderbilt 69-63. Vandy's been they're competitive. They just hadn't found it yet under Jerry Stackhouse. I guess he's in his second year. That game tonight at 8:30. I'm looking forward to it.
Virginia Tech North Carolina game. That one's going to be a fantastic game to watch.
I must have to think that North Carolina's on the verge of getting ranked.
Yeah, I mean, you think if they could get through Virginia Tech, they might be on the cusp.
And the MAC championship quarterfinal today, a team that's been pretty much dominant over the past few years, the Buffalo Bulls, getting a 74-63 win over. You remember back in the late 90s, a guy named Wally Serbiak's alma mater, the Miami, Ohio Red Hawks. Are they Red Hawks?
In football, that's Ben Roethlisberger's alma mater.
Yes.
The Red Hawks. All right,
when he'll retire.
Probably after this year. I could see it. He's
Hey, do you know what St. Peter's mascot is?
I don't.
They beat Ryder today, 75-60 in the MAAC. That's like a
Mid-American.
I think they make like tools. There's that Mako, maybe. I don't know.
All right, John, enough basketball here. Let's move on to the football schedule that we've got for this week, the slate of games. We'll start with stuff in the SoCon. John, got a really good schedule here in week 4 of the Southern Conference spring football season. We're going to start with the hometown Furman Paladins. They get on the road again. The road was not very kind to them 2 weeks ago when they went up to Lexington, Virginia. How's it going to face this time when they head up to Johnson City to take on the Bucks? The Bucks coming in after having 2 weeks off, John, to face the Paladins.
Yeah, the thing, there's, you could break down the two matchups. What is VMI on the road versus how tough is – well, they're different dynamics to each of them.
Yeah.
Reese Udinsky was a very experienced quarterback at VMI, where you're going to have possibly two, one, redshirt freshman and one true freshman that will be getting snaps for ETSU Saturday.
Yeah, Tyler Riddell, I believe, will be the starter.
Yeah.
For the
Brock, what's his last name? He took some snaps last week.
Brock Landis.
Yeah, he could potentially see some time.
Yeah.
Saturday. One of the interesting things, though, I think, is ETSU is very comparable to VMI defensively.
Yes.
Very good on the defensive line. Pretty good on the back end. I would say Tyree Robinson's among the better safeties in FCS football.
I'll say this: ETSU, that's their strength. It lies on the defensive side of the ball, and it was last year as well. They had a terrible time last year trying to move the ball, score offensively, but their defense kept them in football games. Look, I remember the Furman ETSU.
Until they just tired out.
Yeah, true. The Furman ETSU game last year, I go back to in Greenville. It's a 17-10 ball game. ETSU was right there, just couldn't find a way to score.
You remember in that game, there was a big play. The receiver was wide open. I mean, wide, and he drops like a.
Yeah.
I mean, the quarterback couldn't have thrown a ball any better. Trey Mitchell, I believe it was, couldn't have thrown the ball any better than he did. Best throw of the day. Dude drops it. I mean, it's a touchdown. Like
that was just kind of the story of ETSU's 2019 season offensively.
It was.
I felt like. But
like the funny story behind that, because this comes from the ETSU folks, is like that particular receiver had complained that the ball hadn't been thrown to him all day. and the like one time he's wide open, he drops it. The coach just looks at him like, unbelievable.
Bet he's not getting the ball again after that.
No,
but
things didn't go so well. No.
For Furman, I think the big thing for them, got to stop Quay Holmes. Got to stop the running game. Quay Holmes will eat you up.
Excellent running back, yes. He's sort of like a Marshall Faulk type guy, running back, where he's not only a threat, he's also a threat on special teams. Obviously, that's an advantage, I think, for East Tennessee State.
Special teams.
Given what Furman's given up this year on returns and I think they got a slight edge in the kicking game, although I think Bleak Road's very good. They got a young kicker.
He's still young, though, and he hasn't had to have that one pressure situation kick yet either.
Right, and Tyler Keltner was a guy that he was the top, I think, freshman kicker in the league last year. It's similar to Samford last week, who had a very good field goal kicker in Mitchell Finneran and a very good return guy in Montreal Washington. ETSU will also, I think, bring in an advantage in special teams. So,
and look, that could be that special teams and turnovers in this game could be huge for either teams.
Especially when you talk about now punting, I don't know, but like if it's a defensive game, it could be a situation where you're flipping field and playing field position.
Yes. But look, I'll be honest. Furman has not been great at holding on to the football so far early this year.
Neither. Well, I know ETSU's only played one game, but apparently there was one play in that game where the coach was describing that Tyler Riddell had no one around him and just dropped the football. And Samford recovered it, and they're just like, we can't have stuff like that.
Yeah. So holding on to the football, special teams, it may be a game that comes down to those two aspects. Because look, I don't see very many points in this game. I think it's going to be a low scoring ground attack. I mean, just kind of grind it out type of slugfest. I mean, two really good.
It's similar to last year.
Yeah,
not much has changed. I mean, they're still breaking in.
The team that can win the turnover margin and at least you got to have one big play. Somebody's got to pop a big play.
We should take a gander at the overall SoCon. That's something I haven't even looked at yet this year. It's like the overall. I think Ham Simpson's got to be first or second in the league in passing, maybe.
So Hamp is second in passing average per game yards, behind Udinsky.
Okay.
He is leading though. Hamp is first in pass efficiency.
Okay.
With
I mean, we kind of like harped on maybe his mistakes, but he's actually had a pretty good start to the year.
He's second in total offense behind Reese Udinsky.
Yeah, and so
he's not having a bad year. Now he's got 4 interceptions, I believe, which through 3 games. You got to kind of calm that down a little bit.
Yeah, he's obviously played one more game than Udinski, but has a league-leading 716 yards passing.
Yes,
8 touchdowns.
So look, he's the passing
4 of them to Ryan Miller.
Yeah. Ryan Miller with the big ones. Yeah.
He's going to put up like unprecedented numbers for a tight end in
DeLuca,
FCS history.
Ryan DeLuca is leading the league in receiving yards per game. 95.
Yes. See, and that's the thing going back to ETSU is I feel like they've lacked a big play receiver. And I think they have that now. And Julian, was it Price or whatever his name is? Julian Ware or something. The guy that had the 50.
Julian Lane Price, but Lane
Price.
They've also got Isaiah Wilson that can catch the football and make big plays in the pass game.
I guess I'm thinking about the game winner was a 59-yard touchdown catch from Price last week. Had a chance to hear the interview with him today, their press conference. It sounds like a very...
You mean 2 weeks ago or whenever it was they played Samford?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, no, it was like the press conference going into the Furman game.
I got you.
Sounds like a guy that's young but very mature for his class, I guess. I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
But so, they've added some speed there, is my point, and that's something that ETSU really lacked
last year.
Yeah.
Gotta have a good quarterback though to get the ball to those guys. And look, Tyler Riddell played well against Samford in their opener. A couple of weeks off though. How is he going to go up? That Furman defense, different monster than what he faced against Samford. So,
and here we got a guy, Donovan Manuel, who absolutely dominated in the first game. Had 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. So he'll be a player, I'm sure that much like Adrian Hope is to ETSU.
Yeah, Adrian Hope. I was thinking about him on defense for Furman. So thinking a low-scoring sort of slugfest between these two teams on Saturday.
Well, trying to establish, I think, the 2 best running backs by far in the conference.
Yeah. With Devin Wynn and Quay Holmes.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see 2 of the. I think Furman, probably has one of the best run blocking offensive lines in the league. They have struggled at times, but that is because teams know they're going to have to force Furman to.
I was going to say,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was going to say they're having problems pass blocking right now too. But
as Coach Hendricks would agree with me, though. If you if you have more players to block than you have blockers, then you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. That's when you need your backs to step up and
yes, and that was a little bit of a problem at times.
Absolutely. So that's the Furman ETSU game up in Johnson City. We'll make our pick on that one coming up in a little bit, John.
Hey, I got to give it credit though. Ham Sisson did not get decapitated last week.
He sure did take a shot. He took a shot in both the VMI game and the Western Carolina game.
So, that's progression. He didn't get
your quarterback wasn't flattened. That's
right. Like the VMI one, I was like, I don't think he may not get up from that.
I didn't think he would from the Western Carolina, that cat blitz that they called.
Yeah.
I mean,
fun
touch.
That's like a hit you dream about as a defensive player.
Well, I'm sure Ham Sisson had some nightmares about that one after those hits. So.
Yeah, probably seeing a couple of guys in his. I think that was
yeah.
Jeez, I mean, was it Dabney that hit him for VMI? I believe. Gosh.
I don't know. He got hit a lot in that VMI game, so I don't really remember. He got taken down in that one. All right, John. 2 teams that face off on Saturday will be looking for their first win.
Somebody has to win.
Somebody is going to have to win this game. The Citadel's
looking to both Carolina. Of them They both have like 13-game losing streak. Just kidding.
Well, I believe the Citadel is up to 8. Western Carolina I don't know. They may be up to double digits. I don't know. They're 0. If you go back to last year, they're 0. Like if you go back to the fall, they're 0-6 from the fall.
We need to contact the FCS guys and say, I bet there's no two teams in the nation with longer losing streaks that someone has to win facing each other this week.
And look, the Citadel right now doesn't. Do they even have enough players to make a basketball team?
Yeah, depending on how the COVID test went today. But they haven't fallen below at any position, which is they only have like 26 players, which is ridiculous, including like the special teams guys. But like they haven't fallen below the numbers. Like I think Wofford, every guy they had unavailable was like a defensive line. So like they literally didn't have enough players to put like on the defensive or meet the requirements that the SoCon puts out there.
Unbelievable. Yeah, you said that the Citadel's currently got like 25 players on their roster that are going to be eligible.
Well, they were already shorthanded, but like you heard about you tweeted the thing. Part of it is the suspensions due to the bookstore gate or whatever. Part of it's due to like some disciplinary stuff that Brent Thompson is upholding as like suspensions, and then the other ones are like COVID or injuries. But when you have like 30 or 26, I don't know, like 20 some odd players in that bookstore thing, which is a bizarre story in and of itself.
Some people will tell you, though, it's nothing like what happened at Charleston.
Oh, at Charleston Southern. Yeah, it's different. Yeah. There are people out there in Twitter sphere that will tell you it's totally different.
Don't get those two things confused, John.
Right. Don't compare apples and oranges.
Yeah. Because one's a military school, the other one's not.
It's a Baptist school.
Yeah. No. Oh man. But look, if I'm either one of these teams, though, this is honestly my best shot to win this spring. Like I don't, especially look if you're Western Carolina.
I mean, I think it's funny though. Chattanooga is making a big deal about we're not focusing on the spring, and then all of a sudden they're undefeated.
Yeah.
I mean, Rusty Wright, as much said, is like, well, we were going for it regardless because we had to get back on the bus and get back to Chattanooga. Who knew? I mean, like, maybe they really did have somewhere to be, I guess. But I mean, like, it's easy to say that for the Citadel. Well, we're not treating it now. They're 0-2. Of course they're not.
Yeah. Look, but they were gung-ho.
Still a big deal to ETSU. It's still a big deal to Furman and VMI.
They were gung-ho set to play. The Citadel was gung-ho set to play in the fall. And then they went 0-4, lost a bunch of players, and now they're 0-2 in the spring.
Well, and it's hard for me to, like, get on them too much because they did play 3 FBS games. Now, the EKU loss probably made up for all 3 of those losses as inexcusable. I mean, that's just ridiculous. At home.
Yeah.
You're getting blitzkrieg by EKU.
Yes, they were beat down by EKU. Western Carolina, what do they got to do in this game? I mean, obviously, score points, but their defense, man, I don't know.
I didn't look at the box score. I got it right in front of me. Did they play 2 quarterbacks last week? Did they play Glover and was it Carlos Williams?
Let's pull up the box score here.
Because some of their
no. Well, DJ Thorpe.
Who is DJ Thorpe?
I don't know. But
that must have been a trick play or something.
He got sacked. That's all I know. He didn't throw a pass.
They put him in the catamount cat offense.
Yeah. And he got sacked. So that
got sacked.
That goes to show you how good that play worked out for him.
I mean, not horrible numbers from Glover.
Look, Glover's not been playing badly, but look, their defense, man.
But like even going back to last year, their offense is anemic.
Yeah, which was kind of shocking last year with Tyree Adams at quarterback and some of the pieces that they had on the offensive side. And
I mean, they had 113 rushing yards, but 98 of them came from Donovan Spencer.
Yeah, Glover's not been able to run the ball, which is, I thought he was a dual threat quarterback.
And Glover ended up 12 yards. They actually only had 4 guys.
I don't think he ran the ball very much or for a lot of yards against Samford either a couple weeks ago.
No, you're right. And Bridie, of course, the running back for VMI, was basically Furman shut him down pretty good. He kind of got going against Western Carolina. Jacob Harris was a very good game. 8 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown.
Look, Western's got pieces on offense, but they have got to figure something else.
They've always had. I feel, Western's one of those teams that's always had good athletes.
Yeah. They got to put something. Something's got to change on that defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's pitiful.
I mean, the bad part is you just brought in a new DC. I mean, I think it's Andy McCullum, who used to be the coach at Middle Tennessee State for a long time. So, I don't really see them beating the Citadel, even though the Citadel's got like 20 players. I mean, Jalen Adams has looked pretty good. He looked pretty good last week. He settled down really.
I don't know, man. If I'm Western Carolina, this is my best shot to win a game. I'm going all in on it,
I think Western needs to just run the ball and wear out the Citadel the whole game.
Yeah.
Just wear them down.
Ball control will be the key for Western Carolina. Moving the chains. They got in
that game last year, in all honesty, was not a bad football. I think it was like 35-17 or 2 years, whenever they played it.
2019. That fall season, 2019. All right, so one of those teams, John, going to get a win. It's just a matter of who's going to do it. 2 teams meeting on Saturday, John, down in Birmingham. Both of these teams coming in off losses. Wofford lost their last game to Chattanooga in just an awful game there, and then Samford blowing
I couldn't tell you the last, 2012 is probably the last time Wofford beat Samford.
Yes. Samford blew the 17-point lead to Furman in the second half there to lose in overtime to the Paladins. So somebody's going to rebound. It's just a matter of who as well. Look, Samford, I thought, played extremely well offensively against Furman.
Samford's tough to beat at home.
They are tough to beat at home. And look, they can put up.
They had a good attendance at their first game.
And one thing that was a little shocking to me with Wofford in the Chattanooga game was their defense did not look very good.
Wofford-esque.
Yeah.
Particularly on the defensive line with how Chattanooga was able to kind of push them around.
Yeah, they got pushed around, knocked off the ball, which I don't foresee Samford doing that but how good is that Wofford secondary? And it is.
They really hadn't been tested. They'll be
tested.
Yeah. And Chattanooga did throw the ball a little bit in the second half in that game, but most of what they did was not they weren't throwing like Samford will try to stretch them deep and stuff like that. Most of what Chattanooga was doing was tight end over the middle, slant,
And look, I think Samford has done a decent job of stopping the run game. They did against Furman a little bit last week.
They have a good deal. I mean, their defensive line's decent.
Yeah,
I thought they played pretty well last week.
Obviously,
their secondary is pretty good. I mean, Edmonds.
Obviously, Samford's got a Chris Hatcher's got a formula of how to beat Wofford. They've beat them 5 years in a row. Coming into
half of Hatcher's Southern Conference wins have come
against Wofford. Yeah. So he's done something right against that team.
Even going back, I want to say maybe I'm right by saying this at Georgia Southern when he was the head coach there. Yeah. The weird thing about it when they were there, when he was, the head coach at Georgia Southern is Georgia Southern could never beat like Furman ended a bunch of losing streaks against Georgia Southern when Chris Hatcher was the coach.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, it should be a good game. I just don't see how the Citadel, unless, the COVID tests go bad, I don't know if they test again before the game or not, but I just feel like the Citadel will be able to kind of ground it out,
Against Western?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Wofford, I think, I don't really know what to think about that game, because
it's an interesting matchup, and
because you don't know what the psyche of Sanford is right now to lose 2 of the games like they've lost.
I mean, their 2 losses were games in which they blew the lead.
They blew 14-point or more leads, and they blew a 17-point lead against Furman and a 14-point lead against
ETSU. The only game they won was Western Carolina.
Western, 55 to.
Yeah,
and that game was close for a half. I mean,
yeah, Western did score some points on them. I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Jimmy Wyrick has been playing well, though, at quarterback for the Terriers. That's been one of the bigger bright spots for the Terriers offense.
Liam Welch is, I think,
Liam Welch has played well
himself as the starter there.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there. Like, one week Oladokin's starting, the next Liam Welch is starting, and
I mean, he only threw what? He only had 1 interception. He was what, like 16 of like 20 passing or something
against ETSU or something, or Welch, I believe is who you're talking about.
Yeah, last week against Furman.
Yeah, he played well against Furman.
That one touchdown pass he had to King, I think it was King, the 85-yarder was a pretty pass. Granted, the Furman, is splitting hairs to really pick on Furman's defense, because they really didn't do anything that wrong, other than misplay the ball.
One big busted play there.
Right.
All right, John, and how about the Keydets looking to do something historic on Saturday? I don't know the last time they started 3-0 in a conference, John.
Yeah, I probably should know that, but I think it's 1991.
It's been a long time, and the Keydets can stay undefeated if they can get a win at home again.
When Tony Scales was the quarterback at VMI.
There you go. The Bears coming in off their bye week last week, so they get a week in preparation for this VMI offensive attack. The Bears haven't played poorly. Look, I thought they had a decent showing against Wofford, all things considered, and then beat the Citadel. Have beat up on the Citadel in the first half. Let the Citadel back into the game in the second half, but I haven't thought that Mercer's played terribly. I don't know though. That VMI, from what I've seen from the Keydets so far this year, man, I don't know if anybody's gonna beat them the way they've been playing.
I don't think they're going undefeated, but I honestly, if they make up the Chattanooga game, I think that would. I don't think they're losing many. I mean, obviously, yeah. I think if you put somewhere there, it's close, Furman 1 or 2 or vice versa, because that game essentially could have gone to overtime. So they're pretty close. But after that, I think, is it ETSU? Maybe.
Maybe.
You really don't know after Furman and VMI who that next team is.
Yeah.
Chattanooga, I would throw Chattanooga in there too with the top, 3.
Well, I was going to say, you only have 3 undefeated teams left: ETSU, Chattanooga, and VMI.
I just think, ETSU, I think they're going to be pretty good. They've only played 1 game, so it's hard for me to say.
So they were supposed to play Wofford the other week.
Not by no fault of their own.
Yeah,
they just blame Wofford.
Yeah, I don't know. I like what I've seen from Udinski and that the VMI defense.
If you look at it that way, I think your point is very valid, because they do, similar to UNCG in basketball with Isaiah Miller, they have Udinski, who's the best player in the league coming into the season offensively. So when you look at it that way, yeah, that's the advantage they have as quarterback over everyone else.
And look, Mercer, a team that's still trying to find their identity at quarterback. I think Peavy has been the guy.
He's kind of made himself the starter, I think.
Yeah, and he hasn't played terribly, but they'll need something more from him. They're going to need.
He had moments. He looked pretty good against the Citadel.
Yeah. Should be an interesting one. We'll see if Mercer is able to keep it close against VMI.
I think the funny thing that the Citadel guy was saying the other day, Jeff Hartzell, who does a great job for the Post-and-Courier, he was saying that the first play of the first 2 games of the season were literally 75-yard touchdowns for Chattanooga and 75-yard touchdown for who do they play? Mercer.
That's amazing. That's awful.
I know. Well, and he's like, well, if we at least don't give a 75-yard touchdown on the first play to Western Carolina, that'll be a small victory.
And if they do it, it might be a long day for the Citadel fans. All right, John. So we've gone through the SoCon schedule. Let's make some picks for this week. John, we actually did pretty good last week. I went 8-2. I believe you went 7-3. So a better
the main game got me.
The main game. And look, we both went undefeated 3-0 in the SoCon last week. So let's see if we can keep that momentum, ride that momentum into this week. Got some good ones, John. We're going to start in the Pioneer League.
Yes. Tell me Davidson's playing Valpo this week.
It's not Valpo. Davidson's playing the Hatters of Stetson.
Ooh. You don't just,
Stetson.
And in that game, is it DeLand or is it in Davidson?
It's in DeLand. The season opener for the Hatters down in Florida.
That's a long bus ride.
It is. The Wildcats coming off that 3-point loss to Elon a couple weeks ago.
They were off last week, I guess.
They were off last week. Stetson, for some reason, has not played a game.
Who knows? I thought Stetson was dropping football. How did they all of a sudden have a team again?
They put together somebody. Look, they went 7-4 back in 2019. They weren't bad.
And the other thing that doesn't make sense about this, and I haven't really looked into it because I've been into basketball and stuff. PC was supposed to be leaving to go to the Pioneer League, non-scholarship football, after the 2019 season.
They're still playing in the Big South, though, aren't they?
They're still in the Big South. That makes no sense.
Who you like, John?
Maybe I just missed all the memos that were over that 450-page, 450-day stretch or whatever.
Right. John, you like the Wildcats here, or are you taking the Hatters at home?
I'm going Wildcats on the road.
Yeah, look, Davidson lost to Elon by 3 points. That's an Elon team that nearly beat James Madison.
So what you're saying is Davidson's really only a touchdown worse than James Madison, the number 1 team.
I mean, if by that logic, obviously that's not how this works. But by that logic, yeah. But no, I like Davidson. I'm gonna take the Wildcats. Steph Curry's alma mater gonna get a big win down in DeLand.
I think Stetson was they beat South Carolina in basketball a couple of years ago.
They're not bad at basketball, I don't think.
No.
Not very good at football, but
they were picked 4th. I don't know how many teams are in the Pioneer League, and they're picked 4th in the preseason coaches poll
for the spring skate season.
I would imagine that San Diego was always the pick to win that league. If they're in it still.
San Diego, what a weird league, Pioneer League, man. It doesn't make any sense.
Road games this spring are slated for Morehead State, San Diego on April 10th. Can you imagine making a trip from
Florida to California?
Florida?
That's a conference game.
Yeah, I know.
It's awesome.
You have to you have to take the Oregon Trail to get to the
to get there. That's why they call it the Pioneer League.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that was an intended joke there.
Exactly.
So they only really have 3 road games. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. What? How are they playing Davidson twice? Playing them April 17th, too.
There you go. Maybe they're doing a home and home with Davidson.
Somebody opted out, probably Valpo.
Yeah, probably. All right, so we're both going to take the Wildcats in this first one. John, the number 9 team in the country, gets their season's. Actually, they won last week against Shorter. In the Big South, Kennesaw State hosts Charleston Southern.
It's actually Charleston Southern was a team that, they had the running back, name escapes me, but was the all-time leading rusher at Notre Dame. Took over there. Really nice guy. And Furman kind of put it to him there, and then the next week South Carolina dropped like 70 on him.
Yeah.
Making but then Charleston Southern, they recovered. They played against the Citadel well.
Beat them.
I want to say they finished 5-6, maybe.
Yeah.
So this is a fascinating matchup to me because I think Charleston Southern's on the turnaround, and I'm not sure what Kennesaw State. I mean, are they as good as they've been in previous years? I don't know much about it.
I mean, other than Monmouth, they've been beating up on people in the.
I think Monmouth's the favorite in that league this year. I mean, and I think some big people.
I think they won it in 2019, did they not? I believe they were.
Yeah, because Kennesaw had that weird. They lost to Monmouth.
Yeah,
I think up there, which is their first loss in conference play in 3 years or something.
Yeah, Kennesaw State, man, I never understood. They play in the Big South, yet they're number 9.
I'll tell you a team that intrigues me is Gardner-Webb in that league.
They're getting a lot better. They're getting a lot better. Do you like the Buccaneers here on the road, John, or are you going to take the home team?
I'm going to go Kennesaw State, but I think Charleston Southern, raises some eyebrows maybe here.
Yeah. Oh, and I couldn't find it. There's not a line. I could not find a line for this game. Going back to the Davidson-Stetson game real quick, John. Davidson, a 9.5-point favorite on the road against Stetson.
Okay.
But I could not
find we really don't know what to expect. Stetson may come out and have they may run some run and shoot offense that Davidson's not expecting.
Yes. I could not find one though for this game. So I'm assuming Kennesaw State would be favorited.
So I guess it escaped us. Robert Morris is now a Big South member.
I did not realize that. When did they move?
Who knew?
To the Big South.
I'm assuming they are because on April 3rd, they play Kennesaw. But I think I remember hearing that. At some point
they're making a move
during the pandemic that Robert Morris was moving to the Big South.
Robert Morris.
Whenever they last played football. Just kidding. They're in the big. They're in the Big South.
They're in the Big South.
But their only loss is, of course, to James Madison.
Gotcha. All right, got a big top 10 matchup in the FCS Saturday, John. Number 4, Northern Iowa, heading on the road to Southern Illinois, take on the Salukis. Both teams coming in 2-1. Southern Illinois already has the big win over North Dakota State this year. Cox, one of their biggest playmakers on offense, their big receiver, over 350 yards for him so far in the touchdown. That UNI offense, though, a little stale, only averaging.
Well, their running game has not been producing like they thought it would. They've got a couple of really good running backs there, and they've had trouble kind of getting untracked early in the season. Of course, they've played some really good defenses. South Dakota State's one of the best in the country, and this is a tough road game. I mean, Southern Illinois showed at home that
Yeah, they're tough.
I'm going to go Northern Iowa on the road, though. I think they could be 3-0 right now, except they made some dumb mistakes in the opener against
South Dakota State. I'm gonna Disagree. I'm going to go with the Salukis, man.
You're going with the Egyptian Dogs.
Look, they've already knocked off they knocked off the number one team in the country at home just a couple of weeks ago.
You know where Southern Illinois. Do you remember the New York Giants running back by the name of Brandon Jacobs?
Yes.
He went to Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. Salukis, I'm taking them at home. They're going to get another top 5 win at home.
I'm taking Kurt Warner.
I like it. Northern Iowa against Southern Illinois. UNI, 4-point favorite.
It's going to be a good game.
It should be a good one.
If you're going to have a game day, they would be probably at, in Carbondale Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. All right, John. From there to the Big Sky, Southern Utah.
The Thunderbirds
get set to take on Cal Poly, who's making their season debut at home.
Yeah, because did California all of a sudden start playing sports again? I mean,
I believe so. Look, the Thunderbirds, they're 0-2, but they've only lost those 2 games by a combined 3 points.
The Stangs and the Birds.
Yes.
Which I really like Cal Poly's uniforms. I always had. They're like hunter green and gold.
Yep. Yes.
Pretty cool.
Nice facility.
To be honest, I have no idea what Cal Poly has. They used to be good when Rich Ellerson was the head coach there.
They were not good last year, 3-8.
And then Rich Ellerson, we were talking about Army, preceded Jeff Monken. Ellerson really took Army into the dumps before Monken rebuilt it. But he's I don't really even know if Cal Poly runs the triple option anymore. But they were very effective in the early to mid 2000s under Rich Ellerson as the head coach. So I'm going to go Cal Poly just simply because I don't really know anything about it. And Southern Utah's 0-2. Granted, I think one of those was a very, very good game.
But I think they lost by 1 to Northern Arizona and then 2 last week to
3. Yeah. So they might be the best 0-2 team in the country.
Yeah. Cal Poly by 3. That's the line. But
Cal Poly was a meager 3-8 in 2019.
Yes, and they are a 3-point favorite against the Thunderbirds. However, I'm going to take the Thunderbirds in the upset.
You're going to take a mythical bird over a mythical horse or whatever.
Not a mythical horse. Those things are real horses.
I know. I'm thinking probably.
I think this is the week. I think this is the week Southern Utah gets on the board here with a win. They're going to get a road win at Cal Poly.
They're going to swoop in.
Yes.
And get a road win. Okay.
Big Southland matchup here, John.
Ooh.
You get the Demons from Thibodeau.
Northwestern State
going to Selah. Take on the Lions.
Ooh. Big gumbo matchup here.
Yeah.
A little jambalaya.
Dude, Southeast Louisiana can sling it around. That Kelly kid's good.
There's some story. I'll have to look it up because I don't really know. But I remember somebody telling me a story about Southeast Louisiana's AD or something. Not a bad story. I just can't remember what it is. So, that being said, I mean, they're 1-1. Who was their loss to? I feel like they got blown out by somebody.
Let's see. All right, they lost to it wasn't a blowout. They lost by 5 to Sam Houston State.
The Bearcats with a K.
And then won by 5 over McNeese. So they're currently sitting at a net 0 point differential. So that's something.
Well, I think in Sam Houston State, they're transitioning to the WAC or whatever.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so they'll be FBS, I believe.
Well, the WAC is not an FBS conference anymore.
Okay. I thought that the reason they're going to bring back the WAC for a few years.
Maybe they are. Maybe they are going to do that.
But not like, yeah, you're right. Not immediately.
Now, Northwestern State here, John, their one game, their loss was a 7-point game against Nichols.
Nichols is a very good.
It's not a bad.
We thought about them.
A good loss.
And from what I understand, I don't know much about Northwestern State, but they had some really good recruiting classes the past 2 years. I'm going to go with them on the upset on the road.
I like it. However, I went with C-Law. I went with the Lions here. I went with Southeast Louisiana.
The Lions.
But I bet you anything, Eddie O.
The green and gold Lions.
Yeah. I bet you anything, Eddie O.
Here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Do you know which Brewer brother played basketball that went to East Tennessee, also played at Southeast Louisiana?
It's like Ty.
Yeah, you're right.
Here we go. Look at that.
The other one, Ladarius, played at Southeast Missouri State.
Coming from Southeast schools to East.
The OVC in the Southland found a perfect marriage in Johnson City.
I bet you anything, Coach Orgeron going to watch this one closely. His alma mater, Northwestern State. Old Ed Orgeron. So you like the Demons in the upset.
I think he's probably going to sit in front of his TV and eat some gas station chicken on a stick.
Jambalaya.
Probably. With some like Frank's Red Hot sauce.
Something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go upset.
I like it. No, we're different here. C-Law, 16-point favorite.
Wow, that's a okay. I think Nichols State is probably the best team in the Southland.
I think it's a little much. I think Southeast Louisiana wins by a touchdown. I don't think 16. It seems like a lot to me.
I hope the SoCon can actually get matched up with a Southland team in the playoff. Yeah. That'd actually probably be good.
But they get matched up with Nichols and then just get obliterated by Nichols. Yeah.
Who's scoring like 100 points a game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, John, last one outside of the SoCon. Got an interesting matchup in the OVC on Sunday.
Ooh.
Eastern Illinois takes on Tennessee State. Both teams 0-2, looking for a win.
Tony Romo's alma mater.
They've been outscored 75-22 in their first two games. Tennessee State. Eastern
Tennessee
Illinois.
State?
No, Eastern Illinois
okay.
has been outscored 75-22.
Oh, I'm looking. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Tennessee State.
Who did they play? Like who was? Those are conference games, right? They're not playing FBS schools.
All right, so they lost. They lost 47-7 to Southeast Missouri.
Ooh. Ladarius Brewer's previous school.
And then they lost 28-15 last week to UT Martin.
Well, I mean, UT Martin's not bad. I think Jason Simpson's the head coach there. They're at Martin, the Skyhawks. They're in where is that? Clark? Is it? No, it's not in Clarksville. That's where Austin Peay is.
And look, Tennessee State has lost to probably two of the better.
Regardless, teams. I'm going with Tennessee State.
Their two losses, they lost to Austin Peay and Jacksonville State. Like their two losses
in respectable fashion. I mean, they didn't get
Well, the Jacksonville State game was pretty one.
Well, that was, but I mean, the first game, that was not a bad, loss.
Yeah, I'm taking the Tigers. They're only a 2.5-point favorite at home.
I think I do remember where somebody was like, Eastern Illinois was really on a downtrend, and they played Chattanooga maybe
good
2 years. I think back in 2019. And that the coach that took over there, I want to say, man, is it what was the coach? Do me a favor and look up the coach at Eastern Illinois. Is it Buffalo's old coach? Remember the guy that got fired at Nebraska? He was African American.
Their head coach is Adam Cushing.
Never mind.
I
think he played there though.
He this is his second season. He went 1-11 last year.
Okay, then I'm definitely taking Tennessee State.
Before that, he was the offensive line coach at Northwestern.
So he comes from a good program at least. He made the short trek from Evanston to Normal or wherever. I think that's where Eastern Illinois is. Maybe it's in.
I think it is. I think it is Normal. Let's see. No, Charleston, Illinois.
Charleston. Normal's where Illinois State is, I believe.
There you go. All right, John. Let's get to the SoCon now. We went undefeated last week, 3-0. We get 4 games this week. We're going to start with the with the Losers Bowl up in Cullowhee. The Citadel,
this is the hardest one of them all.
Western Carolina. The Citadel's averaging 26 points per game on offense to their first 2 games. John, look at that bottom number right there of total defensive yards given up by Western Carolina.
Good Lord. I need to go and see if Furman's actually gained that many yards in 3 games.
That's in 3 games there, John.
What you're telling me with those numbers is they really haven't solved the defensive issues that plagued them the past 3 or 4 years.
That is over 500 yards per game.
How much is that rushing yards? Because the Citadel's probably, they might just run some offensive linemen or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Citadel. I don't know what kind of game this will be. I mean, I kind of want to just tune in to see how many players the Citadel has on the sidelines.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. They may have people playing both ways on Saturday. I
mean, like Duger Balkan may be providing the supply lines on Saturday with Hayden Brown.
Some of the basketball players suit up for them.
Platooning Hayden Brown and Caden Rice into the game.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
You're gonna go Cullowhee.
I am picking Western Carolina.
But actually, I do want to pick that. Obviously, against the Citadel.
Yeah. You just don't think.
I just can't.
You just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it may be a bad decision on my part.
I tell you, they have better. The uniforms. Western will win that game.
Yeah, they do have
They got some sharp home uniforms.
Maybe they've spent too much time working on their uniforms and not enough time working on their defense. If Western Carolina is going to win a game this spring, it's got to be this.
The time is now.
Time is now. Western's going to pull off an upset. They are a 13.5-point dog at home to the Citadel.
Wow.
But they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. I believe
they're covering, huh? They're winning straight up.
Barely, maybe by a field goal, but I'm picking Western
Actually, do have a good field goal kicker.
There you go. It could come down to that, John. I'm taking the Cats. We'll see if that works out for me or not.
I feel like all the SoCon games, there's not one that's like, they're obviously going to win.
Yeah.
I feel like every week is that way, though.
It's that week. All right, how about this one, John? Mercer heading up to Lexington, take on the undefeated Keydets. Did the Keydets
talk about this one?
Did they keep it rolling
at lunch? I think Mercer plays well.
Yeah,
I think VMI wins by 7 to 10 points at home.
VMI is going to win this game. I'm going with the Keydets, but I think
I don't think it's a blowout.
I think guys like Wise on the defensive end for Mercer. Look, the guy's got 52 tackles.
He had like 20 tackles against. The dude's like, he's gonna have like 200 tackles by the end of 8 games in the spring.
It's incredible. Guys like that, though, are going to be what keeps Mercer in the game. But Mercer's offense is going to be the reason they don't win. I'm going with the Keydets edging out Mercer in a close one up in Lexington.
And I think the difference is Udinski in that matchup.
Udinski's going to make some big throws down the stretch in this one to pull VMI to victory. All right, John, the number 20 team in the country. They had a week off, but not because they wanted to, but because they had to. Wofford, after their loss to Chattanooga, will try to rebound with a team they've not beaten in 5 years, John.
It's like a nemesis.
It is.
Wofford's like it's like, when Furman plays Wofford in basketball, Sanford's sort of been that to them in football.
It really has. And look, Wofford not doing too well in the turnover margin. They're in -3 in turnovers this year.
Man, I tell you, I'm going Sanford here.
6 in a row, man. You're making it 6 in a row for the Bulldogs.
Something about the hash attack gives, be it Josh Conklin or Mike Ayers, nightmares.
Does it make you feel any better? Wofford is only a 1.5-point favorite.
Here's the thing about it. That ought to tell you something a little bit about. It tells us a little bit of story about the secondary.
Yeah. There's some.
Not that Wofford's been horrible, but there's a reason that Sanford's had the success they've had.
There's a concern in that back end. I agree. However, Wofford's going to end the streak. I'm picking the Terriers to go into Birmingham and end the streak.
Oh, wow.
They're getting it done against Sanford. Sanford left too much out on the field against Furman. I don't think they'll be mentally there for Wofford this week. They could
very well not. But I think if you put athlete for athlete, I think Sanford's got better athletes.
Sanford matches up well with them. It's weird. They're that one team that does match up well against Wofford. I just worry because of the way they lost the game last week.
I was impressed by Sanford's defensive speed to the outside.
I just don't know if they're going to be – I just don't know what their mentality is going to be like. I'm going to take Wofford. They've had a week off to prepare for Sanford. Wofford will be locked in after getting their butts whipped against.
We're going to disagree. I'm going to take the Bulldogs at Siebert Stadium.
Man, we're disagreeing a lot this week. That's awesome. Let's see if we disagree.
This might be the most we've ever disagreed.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far out of 9.
Now I'll pay attention more this week because
there we go.
We're disagreeing so much.
That's right. Let's see if we disagree or pick the same team in this final one, John. Furman, the number 15 team, the Paladins, getting that incredible come from behind win last week. Head up to Johnson City to take on a team that's had 2 weeks off to prepare for them.
Yeah, I mean, Furman's like in mid-season. Furman's at the middle of their season while ETSU's playing their second game. Which the funny joke was that it's really like their second home opener.
Yeah.
That's gonna weigh. I think there's a couple reasons that Furman wins. I think one is the fact that the quarterback, they're very young at ETSU. The other reason, I think, is just simply because this is Furman's 4th game. And by now, they're even if you took 2 teams that might be, which they are, I mean, pretty equal on paper, if you have you can't duplicate that in practice like what Furman's, had in 2 more games. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Furman in a low-scoring game, something like 17-14, 20-14.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a defensive battle. I don't think either team's going to have much success moving the ball. That being said, I think Furman's going to have a better chance at moving the ball because I do not think ETSU's offense, especially at quarterback, is going to be able to handle that Furman defense. Because, look, they're going to lock in. I feel like they're going to lock in on Quay Holmes. They're going to make the young quarterback try to beat them through the air.
They're going to do exactly what VMI did to Furman.
Exactly what VMI did to them. And this time, look, Ham Sissons had some ups and downs this year, but when his teams needed him the most, he's come through in a couple of moments for Furman. the success and the emotion and how they won that game last week is going to carry Furman on to a win. I actually think, John, this is probably going to be a 21-10 type game up in Johnson City.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah, that's similar to last year. I really thought in that game last year, ETSU opened up some things on film for other teams.
Yeah.
Well, Sanford obviously didn't get the memo, but like the week after that,
yeah,
Citadel, they played one of their better games of the year, and then after that, Furman struggled to move the ball with the efficiency that they had before. Also, I mean, there's like Darren Granger broke up with his girlfriend, so that weighs heavily on an 18 to 22-year-old as well. But I think more so that ETSU brought out some things on film that they were able to do with their mature defense, and other defensive coordinators were able to pick up on it.
Yeah. So we're both going to take the Paladins, get a win up in Johnson City, and knock off one of the 3 remaining unbeatens in Southern Conference.
Although I think ETSU will have a say. I mean, the game that is very intriguing to me is the ETSU Chattanooga game.
Yeah, that one was Chattanooga getting this is their scheduled bye week this week.
Yeah.
had the unscheduled bye week at the first week.
Right.
Get their scheduled bye week this week. So do you know who they have after the break?
I'm pretty sure it's ETSU. Oh no, Furman.
Oh, it is Furman next. Okay, that's Furman next week. Man, what is it?
Everybody gets their off week.
Everybody gets off week,
even if it's planned or not planned.
Yeah, that's something else, man. Something else. But looking forward to this weekend, John. Can't wait to get back on Sunday, recap everything, see where how the weekend has shaped out in the Southern Conference and all across FCS football. And look, by Sunday we might know ACC champion or who's going to be playing in that ACC championship game.
At least let's see if we do the show at 6. That'll be we could just break the selection bracket right here.
There we go. Hey, we need to do next week. I know we'll do our normal pick for the the football season ahead, but next week we actually need to go through and make our bracket picks.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll kind of do like the reveal on Sunday night.
All right, there we go.
Cool.
That works, man. All right, John. Looking forward to Sunday. Hope everybody has enjoyed it. Catch you on Sunday. This has been The Spread. For SoCon John Hooper, I'm Cameron Tarrant.